This episode of New Jersey Living, we're going to feature the two prime suburbs to New York City. One being where I stand right now in Bergen County. The other location, Westchester, New York, which is just across the Hudson from where I stand. We're currently in Closter, which is a location you've heard of recently if you watched my episode on the top 10 school districts here in Bergen County, which is certainly one of those locations where there are premium school districts all around us. But check out that episode to find out why Closter is very special in regards to that. But we're going to take a look at some very specific information that you'll want to know if you're making that consideration of, do I go New Jersey? Do I stay in New York State? But what would be the better suburban location? Right behind us, we're going to flash up some footage of the 9/11 memorial that's here in Closter, just recognizing some of those residents that had lost their lives in that tragedy, and a memorial pretty much here in Jersey, throughout the state. There's always a memorial come 9/11 every year, just to remember those lives that were lost and sacrifices that were made. So take in some footage. We're going to dive into this now. Come along and enjoy the ride. Welcome to New Jersey Living. My name is Corey Jones. I'm a licensed real estate agent with Coldwell Banker, team leader of the New Jersey Living Group, and host of New Jersey Living, the podcast. If you're looking to learn all things New Jersey, primarily the real estate market, but also the dining scene, social, entertainment venues, and iconic locations, this is the channel for you. So go ahead and click like, subscribe, notification bell to stay tuned for content that is coming this way on a weekly basis. Content that we aim to make 5-star to be on par with our 5-star Google ratings. So if you are someone in the market, you're looking to buy, we have both a buyer's guide, flash a QR code up for that. And we also have a relocation guide if you're coming in from outside of the region, maybe even outside the country. I do have international clients that have come in as well. Homeowners, if you are watching this channel, just getting some insights on your location or just New Jersey in general, you can get a complimentary market analysis of your property just to know your value, which you absolutely should. It's a major investment for you. So even if you're not looking to sell right away, we can get that information out to you within 24 hours. And if you are interested as a homeowner just to entertain a cash offer to see what that looks like, again, we have a QR code for you for that. I can get that to you within 48 hours. So with all that said, we try to be a one-stop shop for everybody, whether you be buy, sell, or even if you're looking to consider some finance options, we can help you in that area as well. So as I did with my lead in, we're going to take on the two giants when it comes to the prime suburbs of New York City. One is in New York, just north of New York City. Another is in New Jersey, just across the Hudson. Bergen County versus Westchester County. And with those two counties, what I did, I specifically decided I'm going to target some really true prime locations for each county. We're going to be in, as you've seen already, Closter, New Jersey, and we're going to compare that to Scarsdale, New York, which is in Westchester County. And we're going to give a comparison of the two to see exactly which one grades out as a plus, a minus, or maybe just a check or not a check for what would be the best location as a New York City commuter. So we're going to start off with mapping both locations. We have Closter, New Jersey, located just off the Hudson. This is just west of Alpine, which borders on the Hudson River. It is very much in the eastern portion of Bergen County, very close to New York. So a commute would be one that is not super convenient, that you're just going to hop on a train that easily gets you into the city super fast, but there is not a long commute to get into New York because Bergen County is such a location where there's close proximity. It's just that trains are not running through the majority of the towns. There's, not lines running through every single town. Closter's not one of those. Closter's not one of those. So what we're going to take note of is the general proximity, very, very much within within an hour to get to Midtown Manhattan. So there's things that we're going to grade out that we normally grade out, and I am going to factor in big three here. So if you watched before, you know what the big three are. That is proximity to the city. That is also local train. That is also school ratings, right? So there is not, the local train factor there. But the proximity certainly will get a check. So we get one check and one no check for Closter to start it off with. Let's skip over to Scarsdale, take a look at the map there and what we're looking at in terms of commute. So Scarsdale, as we can see, it is in Westchester County, again, just north of New York City. Absolutely going to be a convenient distance to Midtown. I would say the two are pretty close because Scarsdale's a little further north, but you don't have to cross the Hudson at the same time. There is a train station in Scarsdale, so they do have a local train station. So Scarsdale, we're going to give both of these areas for Scarsdale a check. So it's going to get a check for proximity, is also going to get a check for train station. So a little bit of an edge for Scarsdale in that regard. Now, the other part of the big three, obviously, is school ratings. So Closter is one of about 5 towns that all feed into Northern Valley Regional High School. This is the #1 school in the state of New Jersey, and I would be remiss not to remind everyone, if you haven't heard this from me already several times, New Jersey ranks among the top public school performing states in the nation. So consistently, New Jersey is going to be somewhere in that top 1, 2, 3, right? So for Northern Valley Regional, you see it is an A+. You can see academics, teachers, and college prep, all A+. There's a couple B's sprinkled in there, but really you see A's everywhere, right? So 100% there's going to be a check for Closter in this category. We look at Scarsdale. Scarsdale is no slouch either. Scarsdale, we see A+ in those same primary three areas that I consider primary: academics, teachers, college prep. Has only one B located in there at all. All right. So absolutely will be a check if we're comparing the two, and we'll get a side by side for all these areas very shortly. We're going to have to make a determination as to, do we give an edge? Do we make it a push equal? We'll come to that in just a few more moments, because there's got to be a critical analysis of one other factor, and that's going to be specific to housing. So right now, if we are keeping score, on one side, we have Closter with 2 check marks, one for proximity, one of them for school ratings, not a check for local train station. Scarsdale, right now, Scarsdale is a check, and a check. All right, so let's see how this all pans out with the real critical factor of housing. All right, so we're going to take a look now to see what these respective markets look like when it comes to housing. So the metric we're going to take a look at is similar to the metric that I look at for housing markets in a lot of my episodes. This is from niche.com that gives us median. Now, median, it can be a little deceptive because it doesn't really reflect the housing market in terms of what the median home price is on market. It's just a overall snapshot of the entire community and what those values are. If you were to take the median value, it would be higher, right? Or even the average, if we're talking about what's on the market right now. So for Scarsdale, we see that your median home value is 1.635. And 93% of the values of the property values are 750,000 plus. The vast majority are much higher, right? So that's something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at Closter. Closter, New Jersey, median value 774,100. Let's call it 775. Literally less than half the value, right, of what we're looking at Scarsdale. And 53% compared to 53% of the homes are valued at 750,000 or higher, and 45% median values between 400 750. Again, just remember, that's not what's active on market. That's just the values of the home, a snapshot of the entire community, whether it's on or off market. But nonetheless, significant savings when it comes to being in Closter versus Scarsdale. Now, finally, what we're going to do is we're going to scroll through the actual market for each. All right. So we're going to scroll through the Closter market as we see it right now today. And we see that most certainly there are plenty of $1 million+ options as we scroll through. A lot of them tend to be on the far eastern side of town that borders on Alpine, which is known as another kind of high rent, high cost kind of location in Bergen County. But we see as we work our way down the list, we eventually start coming into prices that are right just over $1 million. A few of them that are under $1 million, some that are right at $1 million. As we get further west, we see western portion of the town. We do see other properties that are priced comfortably below $1 million. So there is certainly options that are attainable and affordable for a variety of people who are, by New Jersey standards, middle income, and then middle plus all the way up to a more very comfortable, I call it, to wealthy kind of income. So that is an option for you for the shopper in the Closter market. Now for Scarsdale, we take a look. We're going to scroll down Scarsdale. Right off the bat, we see their high end certainly was noticeably higher than what we saw in Closter. We see 3s and 4s. We do see, at least there's one at 99, but there's a lot of 2, 3s, and 4s, a couple 1 million. But overall, you can see the market definitely reflects a significantly higher price point. Right. So you're going to, a few 6, 7, and 8 million, 5 million. Yes. So you get a feeling for very much a premium type of market for that Scarsdale location. Now, this carries us back to a conversation about property taxes, because I had that conversation in another episode, which it was Connecticut versus New Jersey. We had a Greenwich comparison to New Jersey, which again was a Bergen County. All right. So we had I should say Bergen County. That episode we did Greenwich versus specifically, Greenwich is a township, not a county. So it was Greenwich versus both Montclair and Ridgewood. So Ridgewood is Bergen, Montclair is Essex. Even though the tax rates are a bit higher in New Jersey, the price points of the homes lower, right? So even Greenwich is a little further than Scarsdale from Midtown. But like Scarsdale, Greenwich had a higher average, if you will, or medium home on market, noticeably higher than either Ridgewood or Montclair. So in this case, it's going to be very much the case with Closter and Scarsdale. Much higher price point in Scarsdale compared to Closter. So the tax number really doesn't become a determining factor in this case, because one is just going to be much more higher price than the other for taxes to be a deciding factor in this case. So let's take a look at all of our considerations that we've done so far. We'll flash up our big 3 for each community. All right. So schools, proximity, train station, 2 out of 3 for Closter, 3 out of 3 for Scarsdale. But when it comes to housing affordability, all day, Closter over Scarsdale. And that's going to be the ultimate deciding factor if you're going to have great schools, if you're going to be within close proximity to Midtown Manhattan, but you're going to have to pay substantially. I won't say double the price, but you're going to have to pay substantially higher price. You're likely going to consider Closter over a Scarsdale option. And still tucked in to the Closter community, there is very much a small town feel, but there are a lot of the surrounding towns with green spaces. We're going to flash up some drone footage here of just being able to take in some sites of, some of the local parks there. We went to Memorial Park. We were able to take in some sites of the 9/11 Memorial while we were there, close to the reservoir. There's a lot of
really lovely green space to take in, and community events and activities at various points of the year. So it's, I can't speak to Scarsdale because I'm not an expert on the New York side. So I encourage our New York people, New York viewers, come tune in. Please advocate for your community, give some insights. Same thing for the New Jersey side. We'd love to keep this as an ongoing conversation and community right here. Just again, keeping it positive, staying within the guidelines. So at the end of the day, if I'm got to make my choice, I'm thinking my investment dollar, and I'm also thinking about my comfort of living. And investment dollar means how much I'm going to have to spend out to be in a place where I find desirable to be, with great schools and still a reasonable commute. I'm going to absolutely lean Closter over Scarsdale. So if you think differently, by all means, drop in your message, make your case by all means. All right. So I want to thank everyone again. Thank you for joining for another episode here, taking a little bit more footage of the community. I have some road footage sprinkled in here to take into account what the Closter community looks like. And again, I want to thank everyone for being a part of the New Jersey living community and conversation. So stay tuned for our next episode coming up in just another few days. Stay safe and stay tuned to New Jersey Living.